He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minute and Robin. Was about to say Batman forever there, but
no, we're not going back.
This is the podcast where we pose questions to each minute of Joel Schumacher. Oh my god, I'm completely on it. Oh.
Tim Burton's
David
Batman.
Lynch's Batman.
Anyway, it's a podcast where we talk about Batman and Robin minute by minute. Okay, I'm one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I'm your other host, John Parker, and all of you listeners are certainly welcome in my bedroom.
And well, once again joined for the final time this week by returning guests all the way over from New Detroit and 60 Seconds to Comply, the podcast. It is Courtney Coulson and Simon Haynes.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
For your service.
You are, of course, lending your services, both of you, today to talk about minute 36 of Batman and Robin.
I'm going to be on all the Movies by Minute podcast. I'm going to guest on every single one, and I've been on a lot of Batman ones, so that's a good start.
Yeah. You're going to go back and retroactively add yourself to the ones that are finished?
Yes.
Like
definitely.
that episode of Community where Jack Black just starts appearing in like other
Yeah.
like old scenes that has like he was there the whole time apparently. But minute 36 begins with a billionaire bestowing a telescope to the proletariat, and it ends with that billionaire's love life getting placed under a microscope. Because again, we get, for whatever reason, the Gotham's press apparently is led by tabloid trash master Gossip Gertie.
Well, it's a bit like the UK press.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that is true. It's like, yeah, get friggin' the Mirror and all those assholes. Like, right up there.
Daily Fail.
Yeah. Oh, of
Jesus
course.
Christ, yeah.
So we've got Elle Macpherson in this minute, and it's Elle Macpherson, not Pearson. Americans.
Hey.
Why?
I was unaware, so now have not said her name yet on the show, so it's good to know that going in.
I only found it out
Yeah.
recently because I've been saying it wrong. So, yeah.
Isn't that because Macpherson, I mean, it's Scottish, so you'd think you guys would have heard it.
It makes more sense, yeah.
Will she appear on TikTok now to set the record straight, like Alicia Silverstone?
No, she's too busy checking up with noted science fraud Andrew Wakefield.
And
the vaccine conspiracies.
yeah, and she's all about that vegan life, so her whole life is a lie.
That's me thinking though, like it'll be nice for the Australians they'll have Elle Macpherson's back. Like they'll be like, oh, a fellow Aussie, but you come in and you're like, her up the ass.
Yeah, no, because we know too much, and
I'm a red-blooded male, so yeah, I'll her, but
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say no, but yeah, it's she's certainly trying to act. I don't know what that accent is.
It's an effort.
emphasis on the word trying.
Yep. Gold star.
I have to say, almost in kudos to this movie, like in terms of doing it minute by minute format, nearly every week has introduced not only like a new big actor to talk about, also playing a major character, because Julie Madison's got a lot of comic lore and stuff behind her as well, but like it's like every week it's like, here's John Glover, here's Uma Thurman, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger, freaking like here's Alicia Silverstone, it's every damn week we've had like a new big person we gotta talk about now. So the weirdest one about Elle though is that I think every single person forgets that she's in this movie.
I didn't remember. No, and I've seen it a million times.
It's just it's a waste of Julie Madison, and it's just sort of like a nothing. And the thing, she's almost like a prop to Bruce Wayne, this character.
Well, yes,
that's it.
It's not even a character.
Yeah,
and I was surprised to learn that Julie Madison was actually a Batman character who has been there from the beginning.
Yes, yeah. She's actually, we'll talk about Julie Madison more as it goes on. She has had some great storylines So seeing treating my girl like this is like, why? Why have you just wasted her? Although it's kind of like when we complained in previous seasons where like, why are they calling Carl Grissom? Why not Rupert Thorne? Why not use the comic characters you've got? But this is like, you could have called her anything. And it's like, nothing about her evokes what, who Julie Madison is and stuff.
She's in 2 scenes, and she's got barely, 12 words of dialogue between 2 of them.
And
so
it's very much...
Why?
Everything, it almost vilifies Bruce Wayne in this minute as well when they press him about the marriage thing, because it's very adamant that he has no intention of ever marrying this woman. And she is basically a beard for him.
Oh, that's literally what I've written down. Right, let's just get to it. Let's jump forward. I don't care. We're going to jump around this minute. Right, so Gertie says, Brucey, you and the exquisite Julie Madison have been going out forever. Are you going to tie the knot? And my note is, have they? How long has passed since the last movie?
Yes.
She's just his new beard, as you say. Who is this woman in the context of this film?
And it looks really bad when we've analyzed 3 movies, so we know the love of Bruce's life was Selena Kyle. Like, he's never gotten over her in that regard. Vicky obviously got him to come out of his shell in many ways. And then Chase Meridian helps cure him of his demons. And then Julie Madison's just like, those other relationships didn't work out, so I just need a woman to appear next to me at the public events.
I mean, Chase Meridian is, a pretty stupid character, and yet I kind of like her anyway. It's a cool name, and Nicole Kidman in the 90s. I mean, hell yeah. I don't know.
We loved her too, yeah.
Oh, well, think of in the novelization of Batman Forever, their rendition of Chase Meridian is a much better character. They flesh her out so much more. They make her
very much so.
Much less of an idiot. And then you're like, I understand that version of the character would be great, but then as presented in the released edit of the movie, it is a bit like, what?
But she actually had a character she's a therapist, and you're dealing with Batman who has a lot of issues. So, that's perfect. Like, they complement each other in a way. And so in her thoughts, so he couldn't change the dialogue, but he could change the thoughts. So she's like, why did I sound? Oh my god, I sound like an idiot.
That's one. I think it makes very apparent then when Bruce shows up. Batman shows up at her balcony, and she's like, "Oh, I've met someone else," and has that goofy bit where he smiles in the movie and stuff, and in that scene, there's a lengthy bit where it turns out no, she's known that Bruce has been Batman the whole time, and she's been actually almost in a Hannibal Lecter-esque way toying with him to see what she can do with this scenario, and then she's so guilty that she burns all her tapes and stuff. But it's that's a better character. I'm much more invested in psychiatrist who clearly knows what's going on, but she's just kind of messing around with the guy until she feels, I am in love with him. I feel terrible now for what I've done and stuff.
I want to read the Alan Dean Foster bit where he's thinking about where he's internalized Julie Madison's moment in this particular section.
It actually does make the novelization by Michael Jan Friedman does give a little bit more to Julie in that she gets the zinger line. She's the one who says don't point out my bedroom, as if he was give her something, let her have the witticism to make her seem like a character instead of just a mannequin that's been placed next to Bruce Wayne.
Mannequin Minute.
Yes.
Mannequin 2 minutes on the move.
Yeah.
I watched Mannequin the other night. It's not as bad as everyone says it is.
It's fine.
I've always loved it
being fun.
The second one, on the other hand.
I mean, it's Kim Cattrall, so... Am I just really horny tonight? I don't know. I just keep talking about...
It's once you start minute 1 of Mannequin Minutes, nothing's going to stop you now. But...
No. And once you watch Batman and Robin, you're horny.
Yeah.
But if people don't know, though, so that's the name for that, Elle McPherson? Is that
Ferson.
McPherson.
Yeah.
Elle McPherson.
Not
If people don't know who she is, she comes from East Linfield, which is in Sydney, and she she was going to go study law at Sydney University, but then said to herself, I'm going to go and do modeling in the US for 1 year to save money, which that sounds like that's just nothing but an expense to go to the US to do how do you know you're going to make that money? You might go there completely broke and lose everything you have, but she made it. And then during the 80s and 90s, she was one of the biggest models going. She appeared in the cover of Elle, appropriately enough, Harper's Bazaar, GQ, Vogue, Time, Cosmo, and then on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover, which apparently that's her most famous thing.
That's a big thing that movies have told me about.
Yeah, even in the commentary, the first thing Joel Schumacher mentions about her is anyone familiar with the the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition will know who Elle McPherson is here.
She was like one of the first batch of like supermodels, like Linda Evangelista, Cindy Crawford, Abby Campbell. Like they were like the face of the modeling industry during that period. I'm not sure how many people would realize that by now, but they were a big deal.
Yeah.
Like just in that era, like they were on every magazine kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
We
magazines
don't
were
really
a
have
big deal.
supermodels anymore. I mean, you got Cara Delevingne and a few others, but yeah, not quite the same way.
We have influencers.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all that now.
Oh God, trying to sell you weird pyramid scheme products.
And also, it opens up one of those things too of like showing you that it's become more apparent over the years with like the likes of Paris Hilton and Pamela Anderson, people who were regarded at the time as being very like they're just sort of good-looking, for want of a vacuous ninnies kind of in a way. Yeah. But then and Elle McPherson would be like, well, she's a model. What does she know? But then knowing that she was going to study law at university, and then she made a career out of just this modeling thing. It's like obviously very intelligent. A lot of intelligence behind this. To become that level of.
She made a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean Pamela Anderson, great businesswoman. Now people always assume like, oh yeah, the sex tape and all that stuff. It's like no, but she knew how to capitalize and all that.
Oh, and she does loads for charity and stuff as well. If you follow her Instagram, she's great. She like helps animals and stuff.
Yeah, she obviously.
Yeah, it's like Kim Kardashian's becoming a lawyer now.
The thing is, it all even goes back to Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. It's like, muscle bound. Idiot Mr. Universe. It's like, no, Arnold Schwarzenegger, very shrewd business guy, knows exactly what he's doing.
Except when it came to Planet Hollywood.
Well, yeah, but then got himself elected governor of California at one point. It's like he's not by no means an idiot and stuff. But the thing is, one thing Elle is not is an actress. I would say.
She's tried a few times though.
I think most famously in Friends, like she was Joey's girlfriend,
and she wasn't great in that either.
No, she was atrocious in that. Apparently, I think she asked to come back for more episodes, and they're like, no, we got a whole thing planned out. Sorry, she's just gone. But of course, now Friends been hot topic of a recent discussion because of the reunion and that fantastic picture of Matt LeBlanc looking like an Irish uncle, which is just made my heart soar with the memes coming out from it.
Didn't it upset you when he got involved in it though?
Yeah, once he knows the joke, that kind of spoils it. When he starts playing up to it, it's like, no, you never get involved with the joke. But
he feels like the kind of guy that would, though. Yeah.
But though at one point, then because of that, Elle actually popped up in the news this week, saying one of those clickbait headlines where it's like, Elle McPherson tells the actual story, the real story of how she feels about Friends, and then you click on it, and it's like, it's great. She loved it.
I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
God damn it! You're giving me Scandal for Christ's sake. But.
Well, I guess clickbait worked.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, actually. To be fair, though, I was having to do research on her for this weekend, so I was like,
that's how you justify being a fool and falling for it.
They got me. They got me.
I did a lot of research for Elle for this, but it was back in the 90s, and it was the Playboy magazine spread she did, so just way ahead of my time.
Do you remember the article?
Yeah, I only read it for the articles. What do you implying?
What else would you do it for? Yeah.
But there actually is a little segment with her in the Batman and Robin making of, and like everyone involved in this will talk about like, oh yeah, I grew up loving Batman. Like Alicia Silverstone's like, oh yeah, I grew up watching the '60s show and I love the Joker and I love. But the thing is, in talking then, like in the little interview thing, they do that thing I always love where they're talking about. An upcoming movie she's doing, and there's something called Bookworm, which was changed to The Edge with Alec Baldwin.
What a terrible change!
Because they didn't want to be confused with the 66 villain.
I think, that would have worked actually too. Yeah, like I'm doing an origin movie for the Bookworm. But
so it was Roddy McDowell.
Yeah,
Roddy McDowell.
Oh yeah, Roddy McDowell. Yeah, went on to voice the Mad Hatter as well. But yeah, it's just because The Edge is like it's that movie with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin fighting a bear in the woods, and like to find out that it was originally called Bookworm. It's like,
okay,
that doesn't track. But
I'll let you off then. I agree with you.
But the little section it has at the bottom here was one of those. Oh, just to hear what she says. Growing up in Australia, McPherson was quite familiar with the legend and lore of Batman. Quote. I was raised with comics and television show, and it's just wonderful to see how it's evolved under Joel's direction. I love the sensuality and dry sense of humor his vision has, as opposed to the slapstick and camp of the TV version. Ultimately, it's romantic and a pleasure to be involved with. And you read that, and you're like, you've never watched a Schumacher Batman movie in your life.
No, she's reading off a script.
Yeah, that is like gets away from the camp of the TV show. Like, the last movie had Jim Carrey been doggedly followed around by cartoon sound effects every goddamn 5 seconds. It's got Arnie spouting ice puns every 2 minutes. Like, this is the most campy freaking thing in the universe.
Hey, but they are romantic.
It is romantic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what's the last one?
I think this is an example of a costume dominating the character where it's a really great bright pink suit, but the character is so bland that it's overwhelming. It's the only thing I remember about her. It's just that bright pink.
Yeah.
And not actually the character or anything she does.
It's almost...
I'm looking at this shot right now, and everything is like tonally grey and blue and drab, and then you just got pink. That's the only way to describe it. It's just with a couple of exclamation marks. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a character who is supposed to be very much central focus, who is a hero character particularly, you would do this kind of costuming move. And I'm wondering why they would have done this. And the only thing I can think of is just... she's so unmemorable, but she's a celebrity, so we just got to kind of try to emphasize her importance.
Give her a bit to keep her happy.
Yeah. It's either this or like wearing like a fascinator or something on her head, like just to make her pop out in the scene.
It would work, for instance, with Chase Meridian, because she's a character. So if you do that with her, it's like, yeah, of course you're drawing it. She's important to the story of Bruce and Batman. Whereas here,
hang on, didn't Chase Meridian turn up to a scene of a cry in a freaking like cocktail dress or something?
She's constantly just trying to disrobe every 5 minutes.
I have so much affection for Chase Meridian now after talking about her for so long. I was like, oh, I wish you'd come back. Yeah, what happened to you, Chase?
She'd be good in this movie.
But so one thing though, I have to say, these minutes actually show that George Clooney as Bruce Wayne does work to me. Like, he actually his high point of the movie may be this minute. Yeah, where like he has his little pre-prepared speech, and then you see like the charming celebrity side of Bruce, which is the thing we've never really seen in the movies. Like, we obviously had Michael Keaton's Bruce stayed out of the limelight, and he had a kind of quirky, befuddled thing when he was winning over Vicky Vale, but that was only to her. Then you had, Val Kilmer. Everybody loved him in Gotham, but he seemed like a kind of, like, just a drab, boring man. And we were kind of baffled as to why so many people were enamored by him. Because it was just like, it seemed as if Joel Schumacher hired him to play, like, Doc Holliday Bruce Wayne, and Kilmer went, no, I'm going a different way with it. And now, finally, in the fourth movie, we kind of get what Bruce Wayne public persona is kind of supposed to be like in the comics, where he's very charming, he's very handsome, he's very good with the people, everybody loves him, and he kind of loves talking to everyone else. And
he loves saying cheesy little lines as well, where he's like, he finishes his explanation of the telescope with "Follow your own star."
Oh yeah,
he might as well say "Live, laugh, love."
That speech does irritate me, though, because he's just like, my father told me all one needs to do to succeed is find a star and follow it. I was like, your father was a multi-millionaire from a line of multi-millionaires. You can go off and follow a star, Bruce, but other people have to make their way in the world, and maybe they don't just get to follow a star.
This is what the rich do, though. They're like, oh, well, you can be just like me if you work hard. It's like, shut up. No.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Oh god, that one, yeah. And then when you dig into it, it's like, oh, they inherited $5 billion. Okay.
But on top of that, though, again, kind of why Clooney works as Bruce Wayne, because we mentioned before, like, this guy, he sold women's shoes and stuff, and he appeared as bit parts for like 30 roles before he finally got ER and became like George Clooney. He was working for like over a decade and getting nowhere. But he actually does come from like an esteemed, well-respected family. Like, he's the son of Nick Clooney, who is like a very famous TV news anchor in America. And then, of course, Nick Clooney's sister is Rosemary Clooney, who was like the star of White Christmas with Bing Crosby. Very well renowned, singer. Did Mambo Italiano? Like that's her. Very very famous. And then also related to Jose Ferrer, who was passed over. Very famous singer and actor, was in Lawrence of Arabia and stuff. Passed over for the role of the Joker. And actually, in talking about Twin Peaks, the Jose Ferrer is the father of Miguel Ferrer, who played Albert Rosenfield in Twin Peaks, who was the cousin of George Clooney. And it's like, so he comes from like a long,
and also Bob Morton in Robocop.
There you go. Actually, my mistake. That should have been what I led with. Actually, yeah, but.
Yeah, we you got to remember we are part of the Miguel Ferrer Appreciation Society. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's beautiful. I love him.
But even beyond that, like his George Clooney's maternal great grandmother was Mary Ann Sparrow, who was the half sister of Nancy Lincoln, who was the mother of Abraham Lincoln.
Jesus Christ! What?
God damn.
Yeah, and his mother went on to be like, she started off as a beauty queen, but then she became like a city councilwoman and stuff, and that's why Clooney's so involved in politics, because he kind of gets it all from her. So. A guy who is a very handsome, very charming, naturally kind of guy who everybody loves, who comes from an esteemed Silver Spoons family, but then didn't take the nepotism, worked his way up, and went through the hardships to become what he is. Kind of like his Bruce Wayne, a guy who like born into wealth, then fobbed it off to go off and study, different countries, and became a kind of like, an underground criminal so he could study them, worked his way up, put himself through torture to become Batman. So in theory, this guy is the perfect Bruce Wayne. And you kind of see it in this minute. It's like, if there was anything more beyond this minute to prove him as a good Batman, this could have been great. But I think this is it.
Well, that's why I've brought it up before. I want him to play the character now. I think now, with all that experience behind him, it'd be perfect.
If Clooney came in, I would be very curious to see him take another swing at the bat, as it were. Because... the idea is there, but it's just like it was in the wrong movie, I guess. Like,
you'd also need a good script and a good solid director. Yeah, if Clooney worked with those guys and really hammered it down, I do think he could play solid Batman. I said this in the previous minute. Yeah, the Clooney Kilmer.
The combo, the
Clooney Kilmer paradox.
The Klumer.
I feel that's a term on Urban Dictionary.
But so I just wanted to get that out of the way, though. Say something nice about Clooney, because I think the rest of this movie, once he slips back into that dressing gown and never leaves it again, it kind of goes off it skids off the tracks.
Let's try and find out, though. Is it Clooney's doing, or is it Schumacher's doing? Or the script, we need to try and get to
probably a little from column A and Billy.
It probably is, isn't it? But we're going to figure it out. We're going to dig deep and we're going to find out, because we've dissed Clooney a lot. I've tried to defend him sometimes. I want to love him. You always want to like Bruce.
Well, even Schumacher says at the end of the day, "Don't blame anyone else, blame me. I was a director." He says that in the audio commentary.
I feel bad though when he says that, because it's like. That's him assuming, this movie's crap. It's like, no, it's not. You did what you set out to do.
I did get the vibe from Schumacher. Yeah, I got the vibe from Schumacher that he was just like, he was proud of this work. He admits it as faults, but he wasn't like, oh man, this is a piece of...
The way he phrases it always is like, if this disappointed you, then I apologize for that. All I wanted to do was entertain you. It doesn't seem like I'm ashamed of the work. It's more like... If you didn't like it, I'm sorry, but like it wasn't made with malicious intent. Like it was designed just to entertain you.
I hope he didn't feel bad about it, because he shouldn't have.
But to be fair, he'd be getting high off the endorphins of constantly having sex with 20,000 people. So
everyone in this observatory was fair game.
He would be like, I think Peaches said, "The pain away" was actually inspired by Joel Schumacher. The experience of making the aftermath of Batman and Robin.
Will that joke make any sense once you edit it?
Well, it was a bleep the pain away, I guess.
Oh my god.
Well, considering that the widow of Bob Kane is in this scene,
a beloved gossip girl.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if you mentioned this, and I'm assuming you had in the previous minutes, but yeah, he definitely is worth a revisit. But yeah, the actress, I got Elizabeth Sanders, the former Mrs. Bob Kane. as Gossip
And
Girl.
I'm sure Schumacher went there as
And-
well. He probably didn't care. He's like, I'm going to have everyone.
Well, according to Schumacher in the commentary, Kane was on set of this day, but apparently he said every single time there was a pretty girl like Elle Macpherson that turned, he'd be mysteriously there on set as well. So, could be a swinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he says too, like, oh, Bob Kane was very lively and spry, even into his dotage.
What does he mean by that?
It's like, as Elmer Pierce is like, I did not enjoy working on Batman and Robin.
You just know that Bob Kane's pickup line is, "Hey, I'm the guy that created Batman," and now if you use that, it goes, "Oh, so you're Bill Finger."
God Oh my god. Oh, where even are we? He gives an elaborate explanation of the telescope because it can see all around the world. Does it need to? That seems odd. It seems invasive. It seems creepy. I don't like it. I'm against Bruce Wayne.
The plot of The Dark Knight, the whole mass surveillance thing.
Yeah, and it portrays it in
Yeah.
that.
It's a trend here.
It portrays it as a bad thing in that. Like, yeah, this is going a bit too far. Like, yeah, but I need it. Whereas this Bruce is just like, ha, this isn't this great. I can spy on you all.
I just realised that this means there's no flat Earth society in Gotham.
Oh, that could be a good villain.
But again, though, the amount of times we've had to point out that, like, Chris Nolan, it's all a completely new spin on Batman. The amount of things he swiped from not just the Burton movies, from the Joel Schumacher movies. It wouldn't surprise me if he was just like, you know what? That whole telescope thing was wasted. I think we could do something with that.
It's bizarre. And then he makes that great joke we talked about. Just don't point it at my bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so charming. Bruce wants you to know Bruce bangs. Yeah. I don't think it's like, don't point it because I might be getting changed. It's like, oh, no.
It's the reaction, too, of Elle. Is like, to be fair, there's a good bit of acting in that regard. She kind of gives an expression of like, oh, what are you saying? Like, he never says our bedroom. He's like, my bedroom.
I'm paused on this 30-second... I'm paused on I'm paused on this 30-second second, and she look at her face and just like, what?
It's almost as if him kind of going like, not our bedroom, my bedroom, because like I'm stepping out all the time. Like, as long as what she doesn't know can't hurt her.
Oh my god, it's Christian Grey.
Yes. Oh, God, yes. My tastes are unconventional or whatever.
But also, though, as you know, Courtney, you were mentioning earlier, the whole thing of like, well, Batman keeps tabs on all the Justice League and stuff, the Tower of Babel storyline. This is almost like the building of that. It's like, yeah, I can now watch anybody in any corner of the world from my satellite system that I'm giving to Gotham. It's for the good of the people. It's totally for Batman.
Well, that's the thing. What could it possibly be for, right? It's not like, oh, it can look at any part of space, even when it's not pointing in that direction. It can look at the...
If you're not
Superman
guilty, you don't have anything to hide. Why do you value privacy?
We're entering a dystopian kind of Robocop world.
Don't forget, Superman is canon in this film.
Yeah.
That's why Superman works alone. That's canon.
Yeah.
That's true.
I feel like this is a world where Crypto the Superdog is also canon. Take that as you will.
Oh, 100%.
It should be.
Yes.
In the Kevin Smith Superman Lives script, there is a Batman cameo, and I think at the time they wanted it to be Clooney. So Superman.
But more importantly, there was a giant spider machine. Yeah.
The thing is, when he references that, like, oh yeah, this is why Superman works alone, he's talking about Nick Cage. Like, that's canon in this movie now.
Yes.
At the very least, we
Can we
need
do
an
some
animated
like
version.
face swapping magic with I don't know, some Snyder Justice League or whatever? Just show off some Nicolas Cage, a little bit of Clooney. Yeah.
I do like the skulking Ivy in the background there. I think that's a nice little touch. But
I like how Bruce, when he gets asked the question, like, when are you going to get married? He genuinely seems shaken by being asked this. It's caught him off guard. You think he'd be used to it by now, but he can't deal with it.
They're screaming.
And he like hands it over to his lady friend. He's like, "Oh, you deal with it."
it's almost her response is almost like a threat as well, because she's like, "Oh, we're what was it? Derangedly in love or recklessly in love?"
Recklessly, yeah. There we go.
Which is like, that's a bit of a weird phrasing. But then she's like, "That's enough for us for now."
Wasn't that a song in Shrek too?
But then the fact that little "and now" and then his sort of facial expression, but his facial expression afterwards is like, this is, you know, that kind of classic, like, well, if the woman wants to get married, I guess he's stuck, and, you know, it's a bit of a slightly chauvinistic attitude towards it.
Well,
but...
this is more proof to me that their relationship's phony. He hires her to deflect these kind of questions, and she's not playing along now.
She is paid a wage for this.
Yeah, and she's not playing along now. She's winding him up, and he's like, "Don't do this to me."
See, I would almost prefer if it were that he was paying her, but that dinner scene later on, it's like she is interested in him.
Oh yeah.
I think if I would respect it as if it was it's a business transaction. You pretend to be my girlfriend and you get paid for it. But it's more like he is actively just leading her on,
which makes him worse. Yeah, which I think then the best truth is in the middle. It's a business transaction, but she's fallen for him and wants a piece, and he's like, no, let's keep it professional.
Yeah. But
it's the Pretty Woman sequel you didn't want,
or do. Come on.
The only other note I have for this minute is just when they show you the graphics of the world and stuff. It reminds me of that really hideous Universal logo they used throughout the 2000s.
That's very specific.
No, but they had like Universal logo was always classic. It looked great in front of like Jurassic Park and stuff. And then in the mid 2000s they brought in really brightly, garishly colored CGI. And they used it for like...
I remember that.
Yeah, it's horrible. They used So every time you see a movie from the early 2000s from Universal, it's like, what is that thing? It's horrible freaking... It's the beginning of like, good movies. Like Being John Malkovich has that. And like, well, not a good movie, but like Lost World, Jurassic Park 2 has that. And it's just like, it's just a hideous vision. Like, it's so garish.
Is that the one where the animation's like it looks like it's being terraformed as well? So it's like there's like sparkles and weird shit as well.
Yeah,
it was bad.
I think finally they got rid of it, but like it was there for a long time. You would have thought someone would have been like, Universal, your logo looks like trash. For Christ's sake, you nailed it back in the 80s. Just keep it as that.
Maybe it was a ploy. It's like New Coke. We're going to bring out a crap logo, so when we change it, it's big news.
But as we mentioned, in emails and setting you guys up to come on, one thing we're asking this season is that because Batman and Robin is regarded by some as the worst movie ever made, we're asking what you think the worst movie you've ever seen is. Like, what do you think is like not a so bad as good, like something that actually shook you to your core with its appallingness.
Yeah, mine is actually The Predator 2018.
Yes, that's my one. Yes,
it hurts. It is actually so painfully, but flames out of the
It is the worst movie ever made, and if anyone disagrees with this, you're wrong.
Yeah, it is objectively the worst thing I've ever seen. There is just absolutely no merit to it. Even like Robocop 2014, I think does have some little bits of light, glimmering hope. The Predator is just unrelenting, nauseatingly bad. I mean, if this was television, I would say that Raised by Wolves is the worst thing ever, but no, if we're focusing on films, Predator 2018.
Yeah, and Niall, I mean, I've brought this up on the show, so you can edit it out if you want. But your reaction to me in the cinema with my head in my hands was my favourite thing. 90% of the movie, I was just devastated. I just couldn't look at the screen, and Niall was pissing himself laughing.
I was interested in watching that, but then I heard Courtney's podcast about that, and I went, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's worse than you can imagine as well. That's the thing.
I saw it in cinema. God damn.
And I've never regretted going to the cinema before. That's the only time I have.
That's probably,
I've had a few of them moments. So I'll have a little bit of a preamble for this. So in 2013, I thought I'd saw the worst movie I'd seen in the cinema, which was Star Trek Into Darkness.
Into Darkness.
And then I watched Man of Steel.
Oh.
And
I think Into Darkness might be worse.
I don't care if you're going to blitz, but that film. Into Darkness has at least a middle section of the movie where it's almost Star Trek.
Almost.
And just the beginning and the end are utterly spectacular. But Man of Steel, from beginning to end, is just like a constant... It's like somebody was trying to slowly drill your brain and just slowly cranking that
slow
motherfucker.
motion trepanation, yeah.
Oh. 3 movies in, it's just like, I still hate that movie with a passion. Even though I think like Batman vs Superman is the worser film technically, but it just isn't quite so up itself.
Plus, I think you went into that expecting bad things.
Yes.
Whereas Man of Steel, you probably thought, yeah, this will be good.
Yeah, I liked Watchmen. I liked 300. This, the adverts look like crap, but
To swing things into a more positive note, though, after talking about the things that people absolutely despise, we also now, because Batman and Robin is also beloved by many, we're asking guests if they have a film that they love that is genuinely regarded as being quote-unquote bad.
Xanadu. Xanadu is a beautiful, perfect movie. I love every single song. I know all the lyrics. I know every line of dialogue. It's just gorgeous, and I love it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I literally cannot see a problem with it. I know it's camp and cute and silly, but I can't see it as being bad.
That's what it's trying to be.
Yes, exactly.
I think Pete Mummert of the Indiana Jones Minute, he's like a diehard Xanadu defender as well. Like he's been out.
Good.
Yeah.
Xanadu Minute coming soon.
Hey, Courtney and Pete together at last.
Yes.
See, I am an admitted fan of bad media. Like, I'm one of those people where I think analyzing bad media is always a good thing. You can learn a lot from bad media, even if it's just learning what not to do. So I don't have a guilty pleasure in that kind of context, but I was thinking the only thing I could think of to keep it fitting in DC, the only one that sprung to mind was Constantine.
Oh, no, it's great.
And I'm looking behind me, I'm like, yeah, I've got things like The Room on Blu-ray and shit like that, but I think Constantine is one of those movies that a lot of people really hated it, but they hated it before they saw it. I think it was a really solid film, and it had a lot of interesting things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, he's not wearing a brown trench coat. He's got black hair. He's American.
Yeah, he's not...
Whatever.
Well, even in the TV
it was a
show,
really interesting story.
Even in the TV show that everyone ended up liking, they didn't like it at the time, so it got cancelled.
Yeah.
But then they eventually liked it. Even in that, he's not Scouse. He's not from Liverpool. They get that wrong, and nobody cares.
No. Oh, this is America, so I can't tell a difference.
I think that as time goes by, though, you do see there's a lot of internet chatter of like, we should make a Constantine too. We got Keanu back. Like, the thing, now the time has passed. I do feel that there is a bit of a shift of people going, you know what? Yeah, that was an alright movie. Yeah. Why not give him another go at it?
It is one of my favorite images in a movie where it's Keanu Reeves with his feet in a... He's sitting down, he's got the cat on his lap and he's got a bowl of water with his feet sinking in there. Because he's doing trying to get like the last memories of Rachel Rice's sister. God, it's been a while. And it's just that shot of him just sitting there calmly like, yep, this is my life.
Hell yeah. I think it's a great film. Genuinely really good. I know it's not Constantine, but it's great. Like, if you called it anything else, I think it'd be fine.
Film. Yeah. Well, they were going to try and call it Hellraiser at once. So, yeah, there was a bit of kerfuffle about the thing, so they had to end up calling it Constantine, and people were just like, what's a Constantine? So, you can't win.
Yeah, it's not a very exciting title if you don't know the character, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah. If anyone doesn't have any more notes for minute 36, we can wrap this on up.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I mentioned it off air, but I'll mention it again. There's this essay I found ages ago about Bane, which I'll link to, and you can put that in the footnotes, on the Mindless Ones website, and I just think it so perfectly encapsulates why this character works and why maybe he never really connected with audiences the way they had hoped. So, yeah, check that out.
Hell yeah. And before we head off, would you both like to remind people one more time where you can be found online or promote anything you want?
Yeah, so I am at traviandesigns.com, TRAVIAN, and also on patreon.com/traviandesigns, and either on the website or Patreon you will find Prometheus by Minute, Alien Covenant Minute, Tron in 60 Seconds, The Nexus Minute, that's Tron Legacy, and Blade Runner 2049.
That's a lot of content.
Yeah, and I'm also doing Robocop with Simon. I'm just can't stop.
Don't forget 60 seconds to comply. That's exactly how long you have to go and click the link right
Do it!
now. No,
Yes.
do it.
Do it.
Do it. Unlimited power.
Unlimited pod.
go check out my stuff. I do stuff on Fandom Crossing on the YouTubes and stuff. I have Kung Pao Enter the Minute currently on hiatus, but I don't know, by the time this comes out, I might actually recorded a few more episodes. My life is hectic.
What a rookie bloody 2 podcasts.
Loser.
I've been studying full-time photography at the moment, so I go check out that shit at Helios Photos, because I do cool, funky stuff, and I'll do weird stuff as well, but check it out.
Yeah, we did a Bumblebee photo shoot. I found some people with one with a Camaro, one with the VW. And yeah, it was great.
So make sure you check it out. And come check us out. Facebook, The Bat Minute Listeners Cave. Twitter, @BatMinute. Instagram, The Bat Minute. And, look us up on TeePublic, Patreon, all that jazz. And we will see you again on Monday for more Bat Minute and Robin.
Next time, a poisonous proposal. The precinct's most preposterous person pulls a plug on a promotional meeting, but not before a peculiar plant protector weeds her way in for a greeting. An industry titan and a secretly toxic trickster trade tense remarks, but what will the bustling mob below make of this belligerent Joan of Arc? Sinister seeds are sown in our subsequent episode. Listeners, same bad pod, different bad minute.
We'll be back.